It's not tournament legal at EVO. There's only one converter allowed at EVO, and even that adds significant input lag, but people are doing it if they can't afford another joystick. Would you like me to reiterate everything I said on the podcast specifically for you? She takes them both out, boom, because you showed up late, and now you want to ask the same questions that I already completely answered sufficiently earlier in the show. In fact, how about this? We'll have a special show just for you. It's the Level 1 podcast just for the latecomer who wants to second guess and ask me questions I already answered earlier to try to make me like a gotcha moment on my podcast, all right? So here we go. We'll just start over completely. In fact, you know what? Here we go. Just for this person who showed up late and wants to ask the same questions I've already answered, we'll do this. You ready? Here we go. When someone asks you a genuine question you don't like, why do you do a mocking voice if you don't like the question? You always say you don't like when people make fun of you, but you make fun of them. Why? Because stupid people should be made fun of stupidly. Lavinia. Oh my God, Lavinia. You're doing it too. Did I literally not do a segment explaining that mini PC has no ventilation whatsoever? There's no fan or cooling. So even though it might play a 3D game, it's not meant to do that because it will overheat. AMD processors are meant to overheat. They're not good. They're not like Intel processors with a cooling solution. This thing is going to overheat. Okay, hold on. Let's do it again. Here we go. This one is for Lavinia. Ready? Here we go, everyone. Welcome to the show.
That's not funny, asshole.
Expand Dong. Here's the thing. It's not that you can't come to my podcast and ask questions and you weren't here earlier. It's that you literally come to the podcast and your question is like, well, Phil, you're completely wrong on this topic because here's something that I know, but I've already addressed it earlier in the show, right? We already had a segment about the joystick adapter and how it won't work. It adds input lag. You wouldn't want to do that for a competitive game we play, especially when you're playing online where you already have input lag. You don't want any added input lag. We already talked about how that mini PC, although it may actually be able to play 3D games, is not meant to do that because it has no cooling solution. Therefore, it overheats. You'll probably play for an hour any 3D game. The whole thing will be fucking white hot and melt down and shut down. You don't want to do that. Snort. So we've already answered those. So why do I have to completely halt everything to answer your questions we already addressed earlier, right? Lavinia says it will not overheat like that. Okay, Lavinia, can I ask you a question? I'm going to ask you an honest question because Lavinia knows everything, okay? In a PC, okay, when you have a processor, okay, do you typically just tape it to the wall or do you have it in a cooling solution, such as a very large heatsink, cooling gel, okay, right? Usually has those things, correct? I'm correct. Am I correct in assuming that processors and PCs usually have cooling solutions on them to start, correct? We can all say that's a yes, right? I'm waiting for her to say yes, that's correct. Because I want to be sure that everything that I'm saying is correct. Processors have cooling solutions. That's correct, right? Lavinia, you didn't answer my question. You got to answer my question. Do processors have cooling solutions like nice heat sinks and cooling gel and all of that? Do they have it? Yes or no? Okay? Is it a yes or no answer? All right? Well, she's not answering. The answer is yes. Okay? Now, do modern PCs have a series of fans inside of them to also cool off? Because when you run that PC at high end, like a game, it gets hot. Does it have a cooling solution? Right? The answer is yes. All modern PCs that you're going to run any kind of a game on have these things because things get hot when you do things with them. Okay? It's that simple. That PC over there is not meant to be a high-end gaming PC. It's not designed that way. If it were, it wouldn't be tiny. They wouldn't have made it small. Do you understand? If you want a gaming PC, you don't get a mini PC. That's the whole point. Okay? What a fucking idiot. That's right. It does not have a dedicated graphics card. It has what's called onboard graphics, and onboard graphics are not good. Onboard graphics essentially are the bare minimum to run anything. So, could I play Elden Ring on it? I bet I could get it to boot Elden Ring. All right? Probably with like no lighting. probably with like low graphical settings, probably running at like 25 frames per second, you know, I could probably get it to boot it. And it would probably be delayed, by the way. It would probably lag up, have frame drops, be pretty much unplayable. But I could play Elden Ring on it. Oh, by the way, after 2 hours, the PC will be steaming fucking hot. Like, you can't even go near it. You probably put your hand in, like, whatever. I don't even know what the point is, too. Like, what is the point of arguing with me on this? Who is asking me to use that mini PC to play high-end PC games? Right? We already talked about this, right? That we were going to basically look into possibly upgrading or buying a new PC. We even got all the specs last year. We talked about it. It just didn't work out. Like, I totally wanted to do that. And it didn't happen because there was so much other shit going wrong financially and everything. You know, everything, every little thing keeps happening. Every time I think I have a little bit of money saved up, oh, here we go. This breaks. This goes wrong. This is like, fuck. But that's life, you know? That's life. And you deal with it. So, I made do this year. Upgraded my capture device. Upgraded my lighting. Split the processing load between the GPU and the CPU for encoding for the on-demand videos, but also the streams. So now everything's improved this year, right? Even though I'm still using the same equipment, I'm optimizing the use of the equipment I have, and things are better. So I didn't have to go out and buy an expensive PC. I'm good, right? You know, it's piece by piece. Right? Even though I'm still using the same equipment, we had a list of components that we talked about together over the course of podcasts. It was either an AMD Ryzen 7 5800X or an Intel i7 processor. For the GPU, the NVIDIA 3060 Ti or 3070. For the RAM, 16 or 32 gigabytes. For capture card, an internal 4K capture card. The hard drive, a 1 terabyte SSD for your operating system, and then a 3 to 5 terabyte standard HD or HDD for storage. And then we talked about all other things like webcam. Don't need that anymore. I have a new webcam. You're going to have a cooling system. You got to have a very good PSU. We were talking about for the motherboard, maybe look at the Sony A series. All right. At least an 850 watt power supply. And they call them gold. And someone even said maybe the MSI B550 Tomahawk motherboard as well. That there's different motherboards you could do. Actually, I think that Sony A series was the webcam that we were talking about. But I think we're good with the camera I have now is fine. Right? So, there you go. That's what we talked about a year ago. Now, that's a year. Everything changes. If we were to sit down and talk components this year, I would almost guarantee you the price would be way less. Why? No one's doing that fucking mining for Bitcoin anymore, right? And that's what was driving up the prices of PC components. So, likely we could get a similar thing, maybe even updated components for cheaper, which is good. I'm actually glad I didn't spend money on it last year because everyone said, man, you actually would have overspent last year if you bought a PC. So, it actually makes sense that I held off and didn't do it, which is great. So maybe if we were to do an updated list of components that's similar to this, maybe it would be like $1,500. Great. Thing is, I'm not desperate for that right now. You know what I mean? Like, really, right now things are good. My capture quality's good. My camera's good. Everything's good right now. Now, I will want to do an upgrade in the next year to 2 years. For sure, I need to get a new PC at this point. Real talk, you know, right now, I actually don't have any money for anything. Like, I know upcoming there's supposed to be a DSP Tries It episode I'm supposed to do. I don't even have money right now to buy anything for it.